We just heard a track from your new album, Tilt at the Wind No More.
Yes.
I am curious for so many questions for you about this album, Andrew. First of all, it came out this past spring.
Yeah.
Great sounding release.
Thank you so
Really,
much.
really like the sound of it.
Thank you.
It seems very introspective, autobiographical. Am I hitting on these points? Am I getting there?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's sort of like the standard for what I do. I don't really know how to tell anybody else's story very well, so I just kind of stick to my own. But yeah, I think because I had written the book sort of before I went into writing the record,
Sure.
I think there was just a lot of, milled, history that came to the surface, and that maybe I was able to look at with a different perspective, maybe a little less judgment than I might have had I not already kind of tied up a lot of loose ends writing the book.
Right, and that's where I get this sort of introspective kind of feel from it. It's like
Totally.
you're telling stories in all of your songs on this album, and it's a great release. It's got some really cool production values on it.
Thank you.
You're hit with "Lion on the Hood of Your Car," for example. It's like this bombastic kind of synth going on there. I'm curious about the song "New Friends," though.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Because
I don't know.
when you listen to New Friends, you name check Portland. I'm assuming it's Portland, Oregon.
It is Portland, Oregon. Yeah.
So, and the song, if you haven't heard it, it's got a fun premise behind it. Well, it's sort of fun and sad at the same time. You're losing people, and you're kind of hoping that they're coming back to you.
Yeah, so I wrote that song with this guy, you might know King Tuff, really just a radical songwriter and artist in his own right. And
Okay.
I got paired up with him, and we sort of we ended up making this like weird little record together that never came out because it was like we were working on it up to like basically right up till COVID hit,
Yeah.
And so it was a very different record. It was kind of a surf record. I had started surfing, and it was like all these songs were like, all these songs reference the ocean and surfing and waves. And there's a tune called "Get on My Wave" that we put out in the middle of the pandemic or whatever. But yeah, I think the two of us were mining this idea of like, when you have like your person,
Yeah.
and you're like, yeah, I just want to hang out with you, but like I can't stop messing up this relationship somehow.
Right, exactly.
And so yeah, it's meant to ride this line between, is this like a romantic relationship? Is this like a friend that you just eternally do the wrong thing and they go away, And I've been traveling up here. I have a very close friend that moved from where I live in Southern California to Portland.
Is this the friend in the song that didn't come back? Or?
It was just it was all like, I just keep this like running tally of lyrics and concepts and stuff in a notebook. And sometimes like if I end up at the piano at the right time, they all just sort of explode into the story that I'm telling at the time.
Sure,
yeah.
sure.
It was kind of more about my wife just being mad at me, which is like, like and probably King Tuff's partner at the same time too.
Yeah.
And us being like, okay, yes, we're idiots. We're like grown baby men and we're sorry.
Right. That's great. You talk about surfing. I mean, having been in Southern California for the amount of time that you have, I assume that, was this something you picked up sort of recently? Was it like a COVID sport for you? I mean, how did that work exactly?
It was actually like the summer before all of that happened. I grew up moving around the East Coast and the Midwest mostly, and then I got to California around high school. So by the time, I would have learned to surf, everybody was already good at it. And like I'm sort of a perfectionist, and I don't want to do something unless I'm going to be like good at it. And,
Yeah.
And also, you see, I play piano for a living. Athletics was never my strong suit. And then by the time I was 18, I was on the road for I've been on the road for my whole life. And
corporate.
Yeah. And so I finally had this summer where we had finished touring Upside Down Flowers, the last Wilderness album. And I was going to work on a gig composing for a TV show. And I was like, I'm going to be home for the first summer since ever, since I've been like a grown up and had and had freedom to do what I want. And so I hired a surf coach and like went out 3 days a week with this guy for months. And it just became this passion for me, And I'm not great at it, but I when I'm home, I'm in the water 5-6 days a week.
Nice. Yeah, it's a good sort of diversion when you're not working on music.
And I've heard you guys have great surf up here on the coast.
It's not bad. I mean, it's no Southern California, it's no Santa Cruz, but it does
probably a lot colder than where I am.
Yeah. And there's supposed to be king tides right now as well, so it's a little dangerous out at the coast.
Perfect.
So
that sounds great.
That's the little public service announcement for everyone today. You're going to Cannon Beach or something like that. Watch out, king tides. All right. Hey, last time I saw you here in Portland, you were also at the Roseland. Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness at the Roseland tonight, by the way. Should get that in there.
Yeah.
Back in town playing a live show.
Please.
And it was near to 4 years ago. It was pre-pandemic. I mean, and it was such an amazing show that, you know, there was some stage diving involved. There was a bit of crowd surfing.
It's known to happen.
Which was, yeah. And then, of course, you know, we all went into lockdown. Things changed
Yeah.
up. But you did something interesting. You had these drive-in shows that took place. Tell me about that.
Well, you know, I think, gosh, it was probably within the first 2 weeks of lockdown, and I had seen an article. An article got sent to me. There was an act, and I'm forgetting who it was, but it was somewhere. It was in like Norway or Sweden. It was somewhere. It was a Scandinavian country where this band had put on, like, they went to a drive-in and they put on this concert. And I called my agent right away. I was like, we need to do this.
Nice.
Like, this is, if there's a way that we can entertain people in the middle of what is obviously going to be a difficult time, let's figure it out. And nobody would do it. We hit up every promoter on planet Earth, and it was just like we just could not get anybody to want to sign on for it. And then eventually, I found a promoter on the West Coast that said, we want to do this. We want to do it like not only safe, but like just bulletproof safe.
Sure.
They built all this technology, contactless merchandise, and food and beverage, all this stuff. And yeah, we put up one first in my hometown, and it sold out like immediately.
Yeah.
We put up another, it sold out. We put up another, it sold out. And we're like, okay, cool. If we can find a way to safely do this, and we did. I gotta think we did Chicago, we did Jersey, we did.
It
Texas.
seemed like a huge effort to do what you were doing, because you were like one of the only people doing that at the time. It was crazy.
You don't do it because you want to make money. The thing is, it's such an expensive undertaking to just do it right and make sure it's safe. But I think, you know, we were talking about this last night actually, and you know, for me and the band and for the crew, one, it was a way for us to, you know, it was a way for me to keep people paid, you know, in a time when otherwise there wasn't money to go around, and it was also, you know, it was a way to do something to get people out of the house and entertain them, and it felt important, you know. Weirdly, you know, it's like I'm a big fan of, like, this is only rock and roll. Let's not be too self-important about it. But I think in that moment, showing up into a town and giving people something to do to get out of their house was like, and for us to get out and be with our crew, and we were in this little quarantine bubble, like kind of, you know, traveling in like gas masks on airplanes.
Exactly.
But it was a powerful moment. I really regret not documenting it, because I think it would have made a pretty cool story if people could see what it looked like.
Well, looking ahead to November of this next year, you've got something else cool going on.
That's true.
And that is, you could document this for sure.
We will.
It's a cruise. Have you guys heard about this?
Yeah.
Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness, Something Corporate, and Jack's Mannequin. So it's kind of like a greatest hits of you, in a sense.
I'm going to be working
on
a
a
lot.
cruise.
I'm going to be working a lot. That
Yeah,
weekend.
I mean, that's amazing. Tell me sort of how this came together and what the whole idea was to incorporate all these things from your musical past, if you will.
Well, I'd like to become like the underground Jimmy Buffett at some point. Is my goal.
Nice.
She liked it.
Yeah, that's working.
No, I mean, look. I mean, obviously, you guys are here, so there's probably some of you in this audience who've been following my music for a long time, and I think trying to, I've been wanting to do something where I can get these get these diehard fans in one place, because it's a really amazing community. I can't tell you the amount of times I've had people come to me at meet and greets or after the show and be like, I met my best friend at your concert. Like, I went alone and I met somebody here, and it's just this really, like, I don't know how else to say it, but like a very loving community of people. And so, you know, I'd seen a handful of these cruises go around, and I was like, I wonder what that's like, you know? And so I ended up going on and headlining another cruise called the Rock Boat. I did twice, and it was like, just the vibe is amazing. People are there to see music all day, and you're traveling to these beautiful places, and I was like, I want my own boat, and they and there was some it was met with some skepticism. I was like, I'm telling you, I think that this is like the perfect thing for my fan base. I think they'll love this. And I recruited all of my bands, and I said, well, let's just try and knock this out of the park. And it sold out in the pre-sale, and we're gonna go hit the high seas together and see how it goes.
See how it all shapes up. And you're wearing the Jolly Roger in honor of it too.
It's
I know.
perfect.
That's good. That's going to work out well for you.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thank you once again for coming
Thanks
and
for
playing
having me,
the latest album from Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness, Tilt at the Wind No More. You're at the Roseland tonight.
Yes.
And do hang out after he's done playing, because you will have a chance to meet and greet Andrew McMahon. All right, more on that a little bit later on, but I'll let you play some more music. Once again, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.